Dear Radiant Leo, what if I told you that within the next 48 hours, your life could shift quietly at first, like a whisper, then suddenly like a train arriving right on time? This is more than a prediction. This is a divine appointment. A destined journey has already begun in the spiritual realm, and your soul knows it. That's why you're here now. You were meant to hear this. You didn't stumble upon this message. You were guided, pulled by a frequency, drawn by an inner voice louder than logic. It brought you here, because you're standing at the threshold of something greater than you've imagined. This is not about fantasy or escape. It's about returning to your path, your fire, your divine inheritance. For days, maybe weeks, you've been feeling it. An inner stirring. A sense that something has been building beneath the surface, like energy gathering before a thunderstorm. And now, the winds are shifting. The signs are multiplying. What's coming is not just a change of scenery. It's a change of vibration. A holy recalibration. The plane is boarding and your name is already printed on the ticket. You're not just traveling to a destination. You're stepping into a higher timeline. The kind that doesn't come around often. One that only those brave enough to say yes to the unknown will ever experience. And Leo, your courage has already earned your place here. You've passed quiet tests in the dark, made hard decisions that no one applauded you for, and continued on when your strength was mistaken for ease. But the universe saw. And now, it responds. That's why this video exists. That's why you clicked. Not by chance, but by alignment. So before we go further, let's seal this moment energetically. If you're feeling the resonance in your chest or spine, if your intuition is nudging you with that deep inner knowing, take a breath and ground yourself. Then, type in the comments, I am ready for my destined journey. Not just to affirm this message, but to activate it. Oh, mark your readiness not only to receive, but to embody what's coming. And while I have you here, let me say this from the heart. Thank you. Thank you for every like, every word you've written in the comments, every subscription and moment of your attention. Your support fuels this sacred space we call eternal mindfulness. It allows these messages to find others like you, others who are ready to step out of fear and into fullness. You are part of something living, breathing, and far more powerful than an algorithm. And believe me, dear Leo, you will want to stay with me until the very last second of today's journey. Because what the universe is revealing next will not only stir your soul, it may just reroute your future. Now ask yourself, what brought you here at this exact time, in this exact energy? Let's find out together. There are moments in life when we feel the shift before we can explain it. And Leo, you've been sensing it. Perhaps it started quietly, restlessness in your sleep, a repeated dream, or a sudden desire to change the way you speak, dress, live. Maybe you felt more emotional than usual, more raw, more honest. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. What you've been feeling isn't chaos, it's transition. You've been standing at the edge of something sacred for weeks, maybe even months, and now the wind is changing. And with it, so are you. This isn't just poetic language. From an astrological perspective, the cosmic atmosphere surrounding you right now is speaking in profound ways. The Leo Sun, your ruler, has been interacting with deeper, heavier players in the celestial orchestra. Pluto, the planet of rebirth, is pulling at your roots from across the chart, asking you to die to who you used to be in order to rise into who you were meant to become. It's not a coincidence that you felt both the grief of letting go and the thrill of something unknown calling to you. This is the Leo-Pluto axis in motion, identity meeting transformation, ego meeting eternity. You're not being asked to abandon your fire, but to purify it or burn away everything that was never truly yours. And the truth is, Leo, you've already done so much of the hard work in silence. You've endured without asking for recognition. You've forgiven people who never apologized. You've moved forward when no one noticed your tears. And those silent moments, those uncelebrated victories are not forgotten. They are logged in the library of the soul. This next step. It's not a reward, it's alignment. The universe doesn't compensate. It responds. When you begin to feel different, it's because you are. The shedding of old versions of yourself is sacred. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it can feel lonely. But discomfort is a sign that your soul is expanding faster than your mind can grasp. You're not broken. You're blooming. And what's coming isn't here to fix you, it's here to reflect you. That version of you who's braver, wiser, softer but stronger, that version is finally ready to emerge fully. In the spiritual language of energy, this moment is like standing in the eye of a storm, not the chaos itself, but the clarity inside it. The storm has already passed through you, Leo. What remains is your stillness. Your new center. From here, decisions will feel easier, not because they're simple, but because they're true. You no longer chase what doesn't belong to you. You no longer settle where your soul feels small. You are choosing alignment over approval, peace over performance. And that's how you know, you are no longer who you were. This is the space where destiny begins. Not with a dramatic gesture, but with a soft, resolute yes. Yes to your intuition. Yes to your longing. Yes to your healing. Yes to the road that calls your name even if you don't yet know where it leads. This is how faith grows, not in certainty, but in movement. Not in knowing the map, but in trusting the compass inside you. That whisper you've been hearing? That push in your chest? That's not fear, it's your soul remembering where it's meant to go. And as you feel that internal wind pick up speed, know this, it's not blowing through your life to cause chaos, it's coming to carry you forward. Something sacred happens when life calls you to move. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically. And Leo, in the next 48 hours, the call will come. For some, it might arrive as a literal journey, a sudden invitation to travel, to say yes to a new experience, to leave behind a place that has become too familiar. For others, the journey will be quieter but just as profound, an inner shift, a doorway of opportunity opening, or the unmistakable feeling that it's time to step forward into the unknown. This is not coincidence. This is cosmic timing. The kind of timing that doesn't just rearrange your schedule, but realigns your soul. The energy moving through you right now is dynamic, fluid, insistent. It's not asking for permission. It's inviting your participation. And it's fueled by the vibration of number 3, a sacred number in numerology that symbolizes expansion, expression, and divine movement. For +8 equals 12, and 1 + 2 reduces to 3. The number of growth through experience. Of speaking your truth. of walking your talk. In spiritual tradition, 3 also connects to the triad of body, mind, and spirit, a reminder that when we move forward with integrity, everything within us follows. But here's the deeper truth: not all movement is visible. Sometimes, the biggest journeys happen behind the eyes and beneath the skin. They happen when you choose to break a pattern, walk away from something that once defined you, or make peace with a part of yourself you've long ignored. Sometimes you don't change your location, you change your direction. And that, too, is travel. In astrology, the current energies circling Leo are asking you to engage with change as a sacred act. Transits involving Uranus may be shaking the foundation, while Mercury or Jupiter may be offering you clarity, expansion, or insight. These are not gentle nudges, they're soul-level invitations. And they often come disguised as detours, delays, or disruptions. But when viewed through the lens of awareness, what seems like chaos is actually choreography. Now imagine that you are packing a suitcase, but instead of clothes, you're choosing what emotional weight to bring forward. Courage, gratitude, forgiveness. Let that be your luggage. Let lessons be your compass. Let your intuition be your passport. When you move through life this way, no trip is wasted. No experience is random. Even a one-day journey can realign your entire destiny if it returns you to your truth. This is why the color peach gold is so significant for you right now. It carries the vibrational frequency of transformation, of softness meeting strength, of surrender infused with power. When you visualize this color, let it wrap around your solar plexus, the energy center of identity and will. Feel it infusing your decisions with purpose, confidence, and clarity. When your energy aligns with your essence, the road ahead becomes not just possible but inevitable. Remember, not every flight takes off from an airport. Some departures begin the moment you say, "I'm ready." And readiness isn't the absence of fear, it's the presence of commitment. Commit to your becoming. Commit to your unfolding. If you feel that stirring in your spirit, write it in the comments below. Say it out loud. Whisper it to the part of you that's still unsure. Let the words become your first step. I am ready for my destined journey. Because the truth is, you're not being sent away from something, you're being sent toward yourself. This journey, whatever shape it takes, is a return. A return to alignment. A return to power. A return to the road that's been calling your name since before you knew you could answer. And now, Leo, it's time. Who or what do you need to say goodbye to so you can fully live? It's such a tender question, but one that sits at the heart of every true transformation. And Leo, you've always been brave when it comes to standing in your truth, but now, the universe is asking something deeper of you. It's asking you not just to stand strong, but to release. Not in weakness. Not in defeat. But as an act of sacred trust in what's next. There is something or someone that has completed their role in your journey. And though it may feel bittersweet, letting go of what no longer reflects your becoming is not a loss. It's an opening. We are often taught that holding on is strength. That staying longer proves loyalty. But true loyalty begins within. The truth is, clinging to what has already served its purpose doesn't make you faithful, it makes you tired. And you, Leo, are not meant to live tired. You are meant to live lit. Lit from the inside with clarity, passion, and joy that doesn't need to be forced. That light can't thrive in clutter. Not in your energy. Not in your heart. Not in your life. Emotional healing often starts with acknowledgement. So this is where we begin. Take a moment, after watching this, to write a goodbye letter. Not for anyone else to read. Just for you. Address it to the version of yourself who kept performing when you were aching. To the relationship that no longer mirrors your worth. To the identity that was shaped by survival, not by love. You don't have to send it. You only have to say it. Say what's been unspoken. Say what your heart has been trying to whisper while your mind held on. And if you feel called, burn the letter, safely turning memory into ash, and ash into space. This isn't about erasing the past. It's about completing it. And completion is not a weakness. It's a spiritual maturity. It's you recognizing that the same version of you that carried you through the storm isn't the version meant to build the garden. You can honor what got you here and still choose not to carry it forward. You can thank it and release it. In fact, that is the very act that tells the universe, I'm ready for what's next. According to the law of attraction, the universe abhors a vacuum. When you create space, emotional, mental, energetic, it must be filled. But not with noise or repetition. It fills with resonance. With alignment. With the relationships, opportunities, and insights that match the frequency of your evolution. That's why release is not just an end. It's a frequency reset. It's how we move from fear to flow. And if it hurts a little, that's okay too. Growth and grief are often neighbors. But your soul knows the difference between what's familiar and what's true. Trust that difference. You're not abandoning anyone. You're returning to yourself. You're not giving up. You're giving way. There is so much beauty waiting to arrive, but it can't enter where there's no room to land. So take the breath. Write the letter. Do the ritual. And know this, when you let go with love, you never lose. You invite. You invite peace. You invite alignment. You invite the next chapter not as a replacement, but as a rightful continuation. And Leo, you're more ready than you think. If this part touches something inside you, take a moment and type in the comments below, I'm making space for what's meant for me. Let the words open the way. Let them be your release. There are moments when life speaks not in words, but in whispers. Whispers in numbers that repeat until you finally pause to notice. Whispers in songs that play at just the right time, stirring something in you that logic can't explain. Whispers in dreams that come back night after night, nudging you towards something you haven't yet dared to name. If you've been noticing these moments, Leo, then you're not imagining things, you're reawakening. Your soul has been tuning its frequency, and what used to feel like coincidence now feels like confirmation. This is what it looks like when the veil between your inner world and the universal intelligence begins to thin. Repeating numbers like 1111 or 1414 are more than just pretty symmetry. In the realm of numerology and energy science, they are activators. 11 is the number of spiritual insight and divine nudges. 14 speaks of transition and growth, often indicating that you're being guided through a process of refinement. Seeing them frequently isn't just cutites coded. It's a language of alignment. And every time you glance at the clock and it reads something oddly perfect, take it as a reminder, you are in sync with something greater. The same applies to the music. You could be walking through a store, scrolling your phone, or simply sitting still and suddenly a lyric cuts through the noise like it was meant only for you. That's not just nostalgia. That's resonance. Our emotional bodies recognize truth long before the mind can rationalize it. Music often bypasses the walls we've built around our inner knowing. So if a certain song has been following you lately, write it down. Sit with the message. Ask what part of you needed to hear it, right then. Dreams, too, are maps. They're not random. They're invitations. Even when they seem strange or fragmented, they carry clues. That's why I always recommend keeping a dream journal, not just to record, but to decode. When a dream recurs, or when a particular symbol returns in different forms, your subconscious is trying to build a bridge towards something conscious. Trust it. Even if it doesn't make full sense now, you'll see the patterns later. You'll look back and realize you were being guided all along. In tarot, the signs of a destined journey are clear and consistent. The chariot arrives when it's time to take control and move forward, despite fear. The fool appears at the start of a new path, asking you to leap without certainty. And judgment comes when your soul is ready to rise from the ashes of the past, awaken to its next mission. If any of these cards have shown up in your readings lately, or if their energy seems to echo through your life, it's time to pause and listen. These are not just archetypes. They are echoes of your own becoming. Write down the signs. Collect them like you would petals from a sacred tree. Not to cling to them, but to acknowledge their presence. This is how guidance works, not always loud, but always persistent. The universe is subtle, but never silent. It speaks through what repeats. Through what catches your breath. Through what warms your heart without reason. And Leo, you were born under the sign of divine light. Your fire is not random, it is revelation. So when the world starts aligning around you in ways you can't explain, don't dismiss it. Don't talk yourself out of believing. Lean in. Let curiosity guide you. Let your body respond before your mind agrees. And if you've seen a sign recently that stirred something within you, write it in the comments below. Say it out loud. When you name the sacred, you invite more of it. When you acknowledge the whisper, it becomes a roar. When you begin to live in alignment with who you truly are, not who you've been expected to be, not who you've had to be for survival, but the authentic, sovereign soul you were born to be, everything around you shifts. Leo, the truth is, abundance and love were never far from you. They were simply waiting for the version of you who no longer chases, no longer performs, no longer shrinks to fit someone else's comfort. They were waiting for the you who finally says, "This is who I am and that is enough." Financial energy responds to clarity. It flows most powerfully when it's welcomed, not worshipped. Many of us were taught that money is scarce, or that desiring it makes us shallow. But Leo, abundance is not greed, it's grounded receptivity. It's the knowing that your worth is not measured by struggle, and that there is no spiritual prize for unnecessary sacrifice. When you honor your time, your talents, your energy, you naturally begin to attract more of what affirms your value. But abundance doesn't flow into confusion. If you're spending just to escape emptiness, if you're accumulating to avoid confronting what's truly missing, the flow becomes distorted. This is why intentionality matters. When you choose to use money with awareness, as a tool for nourishment not distraction, you realign your frequency with wealth that is both meaningful and lasting. Say it with me, from your chest, not your throat. I am grounded. I am ready. I am worthy of sustainable abundance. And as your finances begin to reflect your inner alignment, so too will your relationships. Love, like money, cannot thrive in the soil of self-betrayal. You were never meant to beg for attention, for affection, for consistency. You are the sun in your own solar system. But even the sun needs warmth returned, not just orbiting admiration, but mutual radiance. If you're single, there's a shift happening beneath the surface. You may notice yourself craving less drama, less illusion, and more presence, someone who doesn't try to fix you, but meets you where you are. That readiness doesn't come from trying harder to find love. It comes from releasing the part of you that believed you needed to earn it. That part of you is done. And when you no longer chase love to fill a void, you become a magnet for love that sees you, chooses you, respects you. You'll feel the difference. It won't be fireworks, it will be recognition. If you're in a relationship, this is a sacred moment to get honest. Not harsh, not reactive, just honest. Are you expressing your real needs, or are you performing peace to avoid discomfort? Pretending everything is fine when your heart is aching is not love, it's fear wearing politeness. True intimacy requires transparency. And you, Leo, were born to live out loud, not whisper your truth in the shadows of silence. So check in with your heart, not what others expect from you, but what you long for. What would love look like if it was rooted in freedom, not obligation? What would partnership feel like if both of you were seen, heard, and held without performance? You've come so far on this path of becoming. And now, as you stand more fully in your light, life is responding. Resources are opening. Hearts are softening. Doors are creaking open with names you've yet to meet but will soon recognize as soul-aligned. Say yes, not to everything but to what feels like home. And if you're feeling this alignment already blooming, I invite you to affirm it below. I allow abundance and love to flow to me because I am finally living in truth. Let that be your declaration. Let that be the vibration that carries you forward. Leo, if your heart is still with me here at the end of this journey, then something in your soul recognizes the truth of this moment. You didn't just stumble into this video. You were guided, called, whispered into alignment by forces you might not fully see but can absolutely feel. The next 48 hours hold something sacred for you, not just an event, not just a shift, but an invitation to step into the version of yourself that no longer asks for permission to exist, to love, to expand. Be strong. A destined trip is coming. The next 48 hours will change your life forever. This isn't just a title. It's a mirror. A reflection of what your intuition has been sensing all along. And not his isn't about waiting for fate to choose you. This is about you choosing fate. This is about you realizing that being chosen was never the point. The real power lies in choosing yourself, again and again, until the world has no option but to reflect that love and certainty back to you. And here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need the perfect plan, the perfect partner, or the perfect moment. You just need to be honest with yourself, with your calling, with the stirrings in your spirit that say, something is changing, and I want to meet it with open eyes and a ready heart. So let me ask you gently, as a soul companion on this path, what are you feeling in your heart right now? What doorway is calling your name? If you feel even the smallest flicker of recognition, if your chest tightens, or your breath slows, take that as your sign. Don't keep it inside. Speak it. Share it. Let it live in the comments below, because when you give voice to your becoming, you activate the energy to step into it fully. Whether your journey involves a new place, a new purpose, or simply a new way of loving yourself, know that you are not alone. You have everything you need. You've lived enough, learned enough, and longed enough. Now it's time to leap. And if this message resonated with you in any way, if it stirred something deep and wordless inside you, please consider subscribing to this space, Eternal Mindfulness, where we gather not just for answers, but for reminders. Reminders that your life is not random. That your soul has a map. That signs are everywhere if you're willing to see. Click the bell so you won't miss the next sign from the universe. It always arrives right on time. And if you know someone who's standing on their own edge of transformation, someone whose light deserves to be seen and held, share this message with them. Because just like you, they might only need one small spark to believe again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your presence, your energy, your willingness to explore this space with me. You are part of something luminous. And your time is now.